Hey, Mark here. Um, so we're starting about 15 minutes earlier than scheduled today. I've got a meeting to attend for my children's school, so I'm just starting a little bit earlier so we can get a little bit more done. So today we're doing part two. So part two of building Buffer or building, so basically emulating the functionality of Buffer, the social scheduling tool. So basically, I'll go through what we've got so far, and how far we've got, and then we'll follow that up with um, what the next steps are. I think in for getting through to where to emulating Buffer and creating a social scheduling tool. I think we can start actually to integrate it with. I'm replacing where I'm using Buffer already with the demo website that I've got. I'm already publishing plenty of content on a demo website. Let me just have my screen here. So we've got this website, Crypto Eagle News, which is currently posting 25-30 posts a day on here about crypto, and it all goes through Buffer at the moment. So I think I can start to look to replace Buffer with the functionality that we're creating in Make. So just to quickly summarize where we've got quite far in the hour and a half or so that we did in the first stream. Essentially, what we have is a webhook which waits for posts to be published on our WordPress site. And when that is published, that kicks off this automation. And at the moment, we've just pulled the webhook away so that we can sort of emulate the publishing of a post here. So we're emulating the publishing of this post. We've got the URL here, which we need to just put into separate modules here because you can't actually pull this one out. But normally that would come from the webhook. So we'd replace these two modules with the webhook ultimately. Then we strip the HTML out of the page from the file, the URL that we get. We pass that to ChatGPT to create a LinkedIn post based on that article, which is here. We have a social media assistant already set up. We then go and search our Airtable database to find out when the last post was scheduled. So you can see here, this is all dates very much in the past. But essentially what we're doing is we're looking for when was the last date that the last post was scheduled to be posted, and we'll add 15 minutes onto that. We'll come back to that because I think I'm going to change in this recording like how we just do that, because I figured out in my head when I was just thinking about this before the recording a way that we can change that, because it's going to get complicated managing all of those dates. And the other thing is, what if that date, what if our automation is down for a while or offline? These dates are just going to be fixed in the past. So we need to, I don't think that's an ideal situation to have. And then we just go and create the record in Airtable, which provides the article URL and the content for the LinkedIn post, but also sets the date and time that we're going to schedule the new post, which is 15 minutes after the latest date. Then we have a second automation, which every 15 minutes or so searches that record, that database, just pulls back one item because we only want to publish one item at a time. If it finds any, which this filter's made sure that there is some in there. If there's none in there, then the number of bundles will be zero. If it is, we can then go and create the post, add the URL in there as well as a link, and then update Airtable to say that that's been posted. So generally, we'll go in here. We'll get the LinkedIn article in here, which is just for testing purposes. Don't have anything at the moment, but then we'll mark that as approved. By default, it's not approved. We'll mark it as approved. That automation comes in, checks for any that are approved. If there are some approved, it will go through that process, and then it will mark it as published, so it doesn't pick it up again in the future. So that's the process. Let's just run this through one time so that we've got a real article in there, or a real entry into that database. You can actually see the LinkedIn post as well that gets created. There you go. That's the first step. So it's added that in there, but it's put the date 15 minutes after the last one. I think that actually that last module, I thought I noticed that when we put it in, actually it doesn't put in the LinkedIn post. So we just need to do that. Just that one. We set the status as published. No, we don't set it as published at that point. So it's just you just need to add the LinkedIn post there. Okay. So let's go. Let's try that. Let's run that through again. So we've got a real one. Let's do that. Save that. Run it. So in summary, I think the first step that we're going to need to do whilst this is running is that having these dates is just not healthy, I think, because these dates could just change all the time. What would be better is if we have like a settings table, which is just shows the last date that a post was published, and we can just work off that. And then we can just keep this essentially as a queue, and then just say, what's the next one in the queue? What's the next time that we need to publish? Is the next time due, essentially? So let's go to our table. There you go. You can see that there now. We now have the LinkedIn post in there as well. So if you're interested in any of these automations or the agents, so this is a specifically a LinkedIn agent, you can look at joining our school community. There's a link in the description where you can go and download all of these automations and any of the agents that we use. There's a whole load of training in there and loads of events that we have scheduled. So go check that out if you're interested in AI automations. So yeah, so the first step, I think we want to go ahead and remove this. We might use this date time at some point to say arbitrarily like when these are going to be posted. But I think we just want a table. We can start from scratch, which is going to be called settings. And I imagine other settings can be in here as well, like high-level settings for that customer. So things like, how frequently do you want the post? What's the times that you want to post it? In Buffer, you can specify dates and times of days that you want things posted. So you could maybe do that kind of thing as well. But for now, we'll just name this one ID with auto number. Click save. And then here, I want to edit this field, and it's going to be a single line of text because it's just going to be the date time. That's going to be a date time, should I say? Date. Include time. And this is going to be called next post date time. Okay, I'll save that there. Let's delete these ones. I don't think we need anything else at the moment. Let's just set a date time in here. So if we set this for the future, this is tomorrow, then hopefully nothing will get posted. That's the idea. It's just not ready to be posted yet. What we can then do is we can go into this automation. I think the first step changes now. So the first step is get a record. So we want to get a record from that Airtable database. So let's want this one to be the first one. Let's unlink that because we're going to need to run that separately. So get a record. So let's change this to, which one are we using? Just need to check. Not sure what the name of the, so buffer automation, of course. So we need to use buffer automation, this one. The database we're using, buffer automation. Table settings. So we're going to go and grab that out. And then here you can do a little search. So we care about next post date time. Okay. And this is just going to give us, this is the way of finding the record ID. Interesting. There you go. That's the record ID. Okay. So in theory, we can just go and get that record Put out. There you go. So we've got a created time. It's got 2. Why has it got number 2? We just did click the wrong one. It was a bit fast. Let's just try again. This normally works just fine. Let's delete these ones because we actually don't need these. That'll make it easier. I'll narrow it down to 1. Let's run that again. No, let's not run that again. Let's do this. Okay, there you go. It's only 1, so just put it in there now. Okay, so I think in here we need a formula. So this is essentially is next post due. The condition we're going to use is format some dates here. So we need an if statement. An if. Let's go and grab that. This function here. And then here we're going to need to do format date as well. The problem with pulling dates is that they end up in different formats. And if you're pulling dates from different places, if they're in different formats, you can't compare them. Because basically what we're trying to say is like, is the date that the next post is due before the time now. So yes, next post is due. So, but when you have 2 different date formats, you can't make that comparison. So we just need to make sure that for sure that the dates are formatted correctly. You always kind of have to do that when you're doing comparisons generally. So we format the date. The first date is the next published date. So next post date time. And then it's the expression. So we want to specify the format as well. So it's going to be consistent as well. So date, month, year, hour, minute. Okay. So that's that. And in here, we want to say basically before. Oops, let's get the right one here. Before, and then we're going to do another format date. Let's go get it from here. Format date. And here we're going to put in now. So the time now. Here. Again, let's just copy the format out of here. And then if it is, then we want to mark that as true. So what we're saying here, and then if we can mark it as false, it's not true. So if the date is before now, then we can go ahead and schedule a post. If it's not, then we're not ready to post again yet. It's not been 15 minutes or 20 minutes, or whatever duration it is, then we just need to wait. So we're going to mark this as true. And we want to change this to a Boolean operator. And Boolean just means yes or no. So it is equal to true. Okay. So in theory, it should be equal to false now if we've set this up right. So it's not true. If we go ahead and put this to a date in the past, so yesterday, and then run that through, hopefully it goes through. So it sets it to true, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want to happen. So let's set it to the future again for now. Okay. Let's get rid of this LinkedIn module because I don't want to accidentally post stuff to LinkedIn. Did that go to LinkedIn just a minute ago then? Let's just check. I didn't know if I stopped it in time. So go to LinkedIn, posts, and it looks like we're good. Okay, just saying that we're live. Street. Okay. So next up, I think we need to go ahead and update our record, right? So we're going to update it here. Let's connect this back up. Oh, we don't want to go to you. Six times now. The LinkedIn post. No, we just want to mark it as published. We've already got the LinkedIn stuff here, so we just want to make it published just now, which is fine. So that's working. I guess we actually just then also need to update our settings now to say the next date time is now plus 15 minutes. So we've just posted. We're going to add 15 minutes to now because we only want to post every 15 minutes, say. So what we can do is we can go in here. We can add update a record. A basis buffer automation. Settings. Record ID is this one. And then next post date time is, we can do add minutes function. So I want to go into here. He says math. No, sorry, date time. Add minutes. We want to add minutes to the now, actually. Let's make it now. And we want to add, how many minutes do you want to add on? 15 or 20 minutes. In fact, what would be better if in that settings in here, we actually added so we can actually change how frequently you post in here rather than having to do it within the automation, which is what we'd ultimately want to do if we set this up as a tool. So let's make this we'll make this schedule spacing. Don't like that. We can always call it something else later. Schedule spacing or time spacing. Okay. And we'd want no decimal places. Great field. We can make this say 20 minutes and then backing out in here, you can actually make it. Okay, we need to go and run that through again so that it picks up the change. See if I can refresh it here. No, we'll need to. Okay, let's just put that in there then, and then we'll run this through one time. He says we've set it so that it doesn't run through, haven't we? But hopefully that was enough. So post time spacing. There you go. So now we can just set in the database how frequently we want the post to run. I think there's other things that we'd set up in the settings here, like what other times of, do you want to post all times of the day? Do you want to post always at the weekends? Like, is there times when you don't want to post? I mean, I think if we're setting this up for just for ourselves with the tool, like we can actually do specified dates here, specified days of the week. So we can say Monday to Friday. We can't. Can we set times as well? Oh, you can set start times and end times. So that might be a way that we can do it. Say Monday to Friday between these times that we only want to check and post. But if we're going to need to add that functionality into a front end if we're going to make this tool or whatever. But for now, actually, for our own purposes, that will work just fine. So in theory, if we set this to a time in the past again, and click, and let's run this again. Siri is now woken up, thinking I'm talking to her. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's go in and so is the next post due? I think the other thing that we have here on this LinkedIn one is is there any approved posts, which we'll have when we add in, but let's put it on here as well. So total number of bundles. So let's undo that. So the filter here, this is just saying, is there are there any articles that are approved or any social media posts that are approved? So it is AP approved, and then number of bundles. We go to numeric operators greater than 0. So I want to make sure that we've got some that are approved. And we can go ahead and mark some now as approved in the database. So let's go back over to our social posts here. Let's mark this one as approved. Now we can run this and hopefully it'll run through and update the record so it's posted. So we've taken LinkedIn out of the picture because I don't want to be genuinely posting to LinkedIn. Other than that actually happening, we're good here. That should be demonstrating the functionality. So let's see. It found the record. It found that it was true. This was also greater than 0 because it was one bundle. I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, one bundle. Should be one bundle because we're only pulling one when we search the records here, which is what we want. And then this one was to update the record. So this should show now in here 20 minutes ahead of now. So it's 3:09 now, and it's saying 3:28 today is the next one because we've got a 20-minute schedule posting. So that's perfect. That's actually worked rather nicely. And then hopefully we'll also update the social posts thing to say we've posted it, and we posted it at 3:08. There you go, on the 17th of October. So that's all worked now, and that's got rid of a lot of headache that we had with managing all of these dates and times in this table here. I think the next thing we want to do, so a few things I put on my list here. So I want to add the time intervals. There's a whole bunch of unneeded modules now in here, because in here we were just saying, okay, well, let's sort by the day and work out which is the latest one, and then we need to add 15 minutes to that latest one, like messy, like I said before. What we do need to do is, actually, we don't need to do that until we post. So when we post on here, we actually need to search the records and not put them in scheduled date time ascending, because it's now redundant. We're not using that column anymore. But what we can do in here, we have an ID field, and obviously this is an auto number, so it'll be a bigger number each time we add a new record. So we can put this into order. In fact, we just not call it name. That's just the default. Let's call it ID. And we'll make, that's funny. I thought it should be an auto number in here. It seems to be auto numbering anyway. Anyway, do auto number. So every time we add one, it'll add a new one there. So we can just make that the So schedule date time, that's redundant. We don't care about that now. So let's go into ID, sending order. Actually, let's just make sure we pull through what we need to there. We don't care about that anymore. Just take that through so you can see. Okay, and then go okay. So it should not work because there's no approved posts. Good. Let's run this in the background so we get another approved one, another real one to look at. But we're just going to approve one of these dummy ones anyway. Over here. So we're going to approve this one. We're going to run this through. But we need to change the date time. So it's in the past. So put this there again. Okay, so now it's again in set change to the future. A post has been scheduled or been posted, should I say. So obviously that would run every 15 minutes. We're running this manually right now, but generally it'd run every 15 minutes, which is the frequency. Well, we set the frequency to 20 minutes, but that's okay. You know, this can run, we can set this to run every 20 minutes if we want to, just for our own personal use. But you know, this can run as frequently as we want it to. We can have it run every minute if we want to, and just check that date time to see is the next post due or not. And if it is, then we'll progress forward. To save operations, though, it costs a lot to run an operations every minute, so every 50 minutes, 4 times an hour rather than 60 times an hour. It makes a big difference. Okay, so we've got that. So I think we've almost got the bones of actually being able to kind of use this now. We can actually hook up the webhook to pass in when an actual post gets published on the Crypto Eagle News website, and add this this webhook back in. The other thing we do is pass images through to our webhook as well, so that we can add that image to our social posts. So I have a bunch of automations already. If you haven't seen it already, you can go and check out the content marketing automations, where we talk about how we already create an image and already store that away. We compress that image, make it smaller so that it's okay for web. And by the time we upload it to WordPress, it's nicely compressed, it's the right size, it's how we want it. So what we can do when we publish a post, we can send the post the featured image URL to the webhook, and then we've got the link to the URL that we can then use in our posts as well. So I think there's a couple of things we need to do there. We need to integrate the image stuff, but we also need to add back in the webhook so that we can use that every time something's posted. The next thing we need to do is add more than just LinkedIn into the mix. We need to add in some of the other ones. So we can do that as well. I think that's it. So I think this works quite nicely as proof of concept for just me being able to use it and repeatedly use it within my own projects. But you know, if we wanted to genuinely emulate Buffer and make this almost an API for use by anybody or use by any of our applications, very easy. We have to go and create this every single time. Then there's some more work to do to make it multi-user. At the moment, there's only one user that's using it. It's that automation. But what if we have multiple users that want to use this? You know, I'll have to think about how we structure the database and that to incorporate different users and things. But for now, as a proof of concept and getting it working, and ultimately I just want to replace Buffer myself within my own project. So I'm just going off onto a different tab here, and I'll show you. I'll bring it back in a second, and I can show you what I have already, which uses Buffer, and we're just going to replace that basically. So we've got content marketing, and then publish social media to Buffer. So I'll go ahead and put this one on here. So I've got these Buffer modules in here. So we go and get the image essentially from our database. In this example, we get the post, then we go and publish them on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, Instagram. There's some error handling built in here, which you can kind of ignore. But ultimately, we just want to swap these modules out, or actually just not swap these modules out instead, because this uses Google Sheets. Instead of using Google Sheets, we're now using Airtable, and we're publishing using our own make tool rather than using buffer. So let's see if we can go and hook that back up. So if I go into Crypto Eagle News here, go to WP Admin. If I go to the automator, let's go and put this. Let's go and put this back at the top so I can unlink these two. Hopefully, move them away. Put our webhook back in. Webhook back in, and then we just need to go and pull the text from there. So we actually do need to get a file still, don't we? Oops, put the webhook here, get a file. Actually, the file we're going to get in this case is actually this one. And that should be okay because that's putting from there. And then this at the end looks like it needs something. So the URL of the article is actually the URL in the webhook. And that's that back up to date, hopefully. Okay, so let's go and sort out our. So when we use a plugin to go and send when a post is published to make. Now there is other ways you can do it. There are make modules which can watch for published posts, but this just offers us a little bit more flexibility. So we're going to go ahead and use this. So if I go and edit this buffer post publish one, which we started in the first automation that we created. Okay, so I've gone in and just added the image URL here in. So this is the post featured image URL, and we're going to pass the URL to our webhook when we publish it. So that's already set up actually. So if I go in here, unlink this, and I'll just run it and wait. What we can do is we can go and publish a post. There may be some posts. Yeah, there's some posts ready to go. So this is my demo website that goes and uses RSS basically to go and find crypto news. So this one looks good. It's got an image. So we're going to go ahead and publish that. And that should come through to here. And there you go. That's the URL of the post we just published and the image URL we just had. So we just check that that's good. There we go. That's the one we just looked at. Okay. So if that was the case, we can now go and get that file. So we can pass it. We actually don't need these modules now. Say because this one, yeah, we're actually just trying to work out what the latest date time is to post. We now do that in here. So we need this create record at the end. Do we need the create record? We need to create it to add the LinkedIn post, but we don't add in the scheduled date time because that's not relevant anymore. So we can get rid of that and we add in the URL, which is fine. I think we also want to add image URL into the database as well. So we'll go okay with that. We need to go back to the database. In here, we need to add in the URL. We'll call this one image URL. Create field. I'll have that after there. Looks good. If I go and refresh this. Image URL is this one. Okay. So I think we can. Yep. So this is just working out, doing some math to work out what's the latest post. This is aggregating all of the bundles into and putting them into an array. But we don't need any of that, I don't think. So I'm going to unlink these and then I'm going to move them up here. Oops. So always good to keep them just in case. But I think that's good. I think that's gonna, let's just test it out. We've got some real ones in here again we can go and test it with. So this one looks very similar in image wise, but let's go and post this. Run. We'll go and run this webhook. See what happens in the database. I think maybe because it wasn't running, it did not work. Because I'm not saving those. Okay, let's just run that again. Let's just check this one's got an image. Some of the images aren't coming through at the moment. I need to update my, like this one, I need to update my prompt because anything to do with the election, Midjourney has decided that they don't want to create any images that are related to the election, like Donald Trump and Camilla Harris. So you can't create any images, and because it's about Bitcoin and obviously crypto is a big topic. Yeah, it doesn't create any images at the moment. So if I change it to just swap out words like Trump to presidential candidate or whatever, it kind of works pretty good. Works fine. So I just need to do that. But we've got Tesla one here that we can kind of use. So why Tesla moved 760 million in Bitcoin, exploring potential reasons. So we can close this one off for now. Let's go ahead. Webhooks running, so we can go and publish this on here. Publish. Okay, it's running. It's getting added to Airtable, what it will do in a second. Once ChatGPT has created our LinkedIn post, let's go see. There you go. So there's the LinkedIn post it created about Tesla. Beautiful. And then this is the image URL, which also works. Elon. Okay, so I think we just need to set this field to be not approved by default. So you can set a default option here to not approve. So every time a new one gets added, it'll automatically be set to not approved like that. Now we can say, okay, we're happy with that. Let's go ahead and publish it. So if we go into our settings here, we want to make sure that it's in the past. So it's now 3:24. So we'll make this 3:20 p.m. And should we go and publish it to LinkedIn? I think my other automation's doing that, but it doesn't matter. I'll have it twice. Take that. Okay, let's just do it. Let's see what happens. See what happens. Did I mark it as, so the next date time is here. Did I mark that as approved in here? Yes, I did. So now if we go to my LinkedIn, that post, I tell you what I didn't do. I did not add the image as part of the post because we didn't have it before. So we're going to here though. We can see that the post has been published, which is good. We were just lacking the image that we wanted there. So I'm going to delete that because it's not my general posting for my own personal account. Okay, that worked. So what all we need to do is we need to just go into here, create a record, and the image URL is there, but actually when we posted it, we didn't put the image URL in there. So in here, can you add that in here? Now, Buffer, it's very easy to add images. I wonder how you add an image in here. It's not something I've done before because I always use Buffer. Don't need to use mentions, media type, article. Okay. Is that an article? Not quite sure what it means, article. Is that an article as in a LinkedIn blog post type article thing, or is it? We can test it. Let's see how it works. So we've got URL. So I think this is the URL to the post that we want to put in here. So it's that one. The title will be I don't really have a title yet. So this really is I think this really is a and it really is one of those articles that you have in LinkedIn, not just a general post. Let's just see what else we've got with LinkedIn here. Create a user text, shares a simple text post URL, create an image post. That is what we want. That's why I think. So we're going to lose our filters now. Here's the problem. We're going to lose them. Lost this one, not that one. Okay. Let's go put this one on the end and we can go and steal it out. Approved posts, total number of bundles greater than 0. That's easy to remember. Posts, total number of bundles, numeric is greater than 0. Okay. Check that's there. That is. Let's unlink this one. We'll leave this down here just in case we need it. So now we need to map this is the file name of the image, and then the title, the content. Okay, this looks better. So we've got the file name, which will be it's not in here yet. Is that because we've not run this automation through yet? Okay. Should be in here, shouldn't it? As the URL. As the image. I'm going crazy. Image URL. And then URL. We just need to probably refresh, do we? This again. It's got image URL in there now. Oh, is it because we're not putting it back in here? That's probably why. There you go. Image URL. We need that. Okay, just need to run it through, do we? Oh, we've got no posts, but hopefully that was enough to kick it off. I hope. Nope. Okay. We need to get through here. Let's just make this. We're going to cheat. No, it's not. Do settings. Set this for in the past again. Now we should be able to run this through. Okay. Now we should have access to the image URL. What am I doing wrong here? You're probably shouting at the screen. Should have the image URL. Maybe it's not because maybe it's because we've not got any that's been approved. So let's mark one as approved. Try again. I'm just going to unplug this because I don't want to post to LinkedIn all the time. I'll try. These modules can be real problematic sometimes. These Airtable ones, especially we don't have a refresh here either. Let me just save that and then refresh the page. Save anyway. There you go. Sometimes these modules are very annoying. So image URL, nah, data. The file name is not actually that, but we need to get the data. So in that case, we need to get a file. HTTP module, get a file. I'm sure this is not how I do it. Oh, it's because it's buffer, isn't it? Buffer, it works differently. Okay, so let's get a file. The URL is going to be this one. Out the back of that, okay, let's unlink. What we're going to need to do, I'll tell you why as well, is that we need to go and get this, put it into the one that we've approved. Let's go and same on all of them. Just because we're testing at the moment. Okay, so run that. So we've got the data, which is our binary, which we can now pass into LinkedIn. So binary from the HTTP module. I'm not having much luck with this, am I? For some reason my mate's playing games. Let's refresh the page again. Okay, let's tidy that up. There you go. So the data's okay, so it's already mapped that. So it's mapped the file name with that. File name doesn't really matter, although file.png is not the greatest, but it's not going to, nobody's going to see that. So that's fine to map that, I think. And then the content will be it's going to be LinkedIn. Okay. LinkedIn. There you go. Okay. That I hope would work. Let's save that. Let's go back to here. Let's create. I think we're going to have to create a genuine post here. Or a test post. Let's create a test post just to kick off that automation through the webhook. So test post. Need to go and add a featured image in. Let's use one that's not Elon. So it's a little different. Okay, put that one in there. Run this webhook. Publish. Let's create the post. So this should appear under here in a moment. There you go. And it's marked it as not approved because it's not yet approved by default, which is what we wanted. These dates are redundant, so we got rid of those now. Let's just mark this as approved. Leave that as not approved for now. And then we're going to go and run this through, and hopefully this creates a post on LinkedIn. No, let's see what happened. Missing value parameter content. So LinkedIn was empty. So why was LinkedIn empty? Let's have a look. So LinkedIn does not look empty there. It looks fine to me. Oh, it was probably empty because we had no, it is empty, but because we had nothing actually in the post. We actually had no content in here when we created this post. There was nothing there. So ChatGPT probably produced nothing out the back of it. So what we need to do is instead of using that, in fact, we need to delete that post. Quick chop. What we'll do is we'll duplicate this post. So we've got some real content. Okay. And then we'll make sure our automation's running. We'll go and publish that. Oops. Oh, go publish it. And then I think we're quite a way down. I think this then actually is at the point where I could switch off the other webhook. Oh, I need to add in the other social media platforms. But once I've done that, I can switch off my buffer stuff. And so this has actually got some genuine content now. With a, he says, did that add? Was that one added in? I'm not even sure if that one was the new one. Okay. Let's delete these and we can see what we're working with. Okay. Let's trash this. Let's make sure this is running. Let's make a copy again. Right, we're going to this. Ooh, published. Yeah, so that next thing is just to add in the other social media platforms, and I can replace Buffer, I think, because this should just work. So I think that's the next video. We're going to actually put that into action. Make sure that's all working. So now we need to go and approve this one. So it's got a URL. It's got a LinkedIn post. So if we mark this as approved. Oops, approved. Go in here, run this. What if this will fail again? No, looks like it's working. Okay, so the database says it's published. Got the publish date time. If I go to my LinkedIn, be the profile. And there you go. There's the post with Elon. All done. Okay, so that's all working. I think we're almost there. I now need to go because I have to attend something at my children's school. But thanks for listening. I think we're in a really good spot. All we need to do is add in other social posts, social media platforms like Twitter, and then we can just turn up one of the webhooks and just have this one on permanently. And that should be our social scheduling, and replace Buffer, replace a subscription that costs me every month. Thanks again for listening. We're recording another one at the same time next week to further this project. So be sure to like and subscribe and tune in for the next one. Thanks for listening.